Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Sandra Pummel and I'm coming to you from the Central Coast of California. Some of you may not know me, but I was a top finalist in TogiNet Radio's online talk show hosting contest in 2011. I also am an associate clinical social worker. I interned with an emerging child advocacy center in my area dedicated to addressing child abuse, child sexual abuse, and worked on a crisis hotline for adult victims also. So it's my first podcast on this site. It's my first episode, and I'm going to use some material on ending abuse. This material comes from a paper I actually wrote when I was in grad school, and I'm just going to use it for my first podcasting episode. We must put a stop to domestic violence and family violence in the U.S. The grand challenge in social work literature takes this seriously enough to include it in its agenda today. So let's talk about the specifics of domestic violence. Global statistics by the World Health Organization say that about 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced some form of physical or sexual violence by an intimate partner. This is according to the Violence Against Women fact sheet. This is a major public health problem and violation of human dignity and rights. Additionally, women who were abused in childhood, feel subordinate to men, or have a low education are more likely to be abused, according to the Violence Against Women fact sheet 2017. National statistics state that approximately 20 people per minute are physically abused by a partner in the U.S., and this trend contributes to more suicide and depression rates. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, family violence recorded by police accounted for 33% of all violence in 18 states in the year 2000. Duros Harlow et al. 2005. Also recorded in these family violence statistics is that, quote, family violence includes all types of violent crime committed by an offender who is related to the victim either biologically or legally through marriage or adoption, end quote. Just to give you an idea of how bad the epidemic is, take into account a recent article by the Huffington Post, which states that the number of American troops killed in Afghanistan and Iraq between 2001 and 2012 was 6,488. The number of American women who were murdered by current or ex-male partners during that time was 11,766. That's nearly double the amount of casualties lost during war. Vagianos, 2014. From even a feminist and or humanitarian perspective, violence against women should not go unnoticed. Children being exposed to abuse is frequent enough where we can long to prevent it. Social change is possible, and it's up to us to stay empowered and up to date on current cases of abuse in our local communities. Don't think you can make a difference? Reach out to your local counseling offices offering help to help end the cycle, or an organization that is dedicated to helping to end the cycle. There are plenty of interventions and counseling available for you women who are out there suffering as well, although we could always use more. Activism and protest marches are also available to help us stop the mass disturbance of abuse of all kinds. Let's start making a difference and changing violence into vibrance by creating social change. So I also wanted to note that adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, plays a role in future trauma of child victims of various forms of abuse and function to create early life negative health outcomes. So basically, adverse childhood experiences happen as a person is exposed to trauma or dysfunction within their family or neighbors or whatever when they're a kid. And what it does is it creates negative health outcomes for them as an adult, because if it goes untreated and they don't go to therapy or they don't get those wounds treated, in a way that works for them, then they can suffer from some pretty serious side effects as an adult. But luckily, there are also what are known as PACEs, which are protective protective aspects of adverse childhood experiences. So PACEs are they're protective factors that help a person to not acquire those negative health outcomes later in life, and they create resiliency in the child or in the adult even that this is happening to. And some of these factors include things like relationships, resources, protective and compensatory experiences, optimal neurodevelopment, social, emotional, and cognitive functioning, healthy behaviors, achievement of developmental milestones, and health and longevity. So, this is just, like I said, my first episode. This was a topic that I had studied and have some experience in, so I really care about it. There are a lot of other things that I have talked about and can talk about on my show, but I would say that abuse is so prevalent. There's so many different kinds of it, right? And particularly sexual abuse is something that affects, like I said, 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 girls or women. And so we really want to educate people about the cycle, and that we want to stop the trend. But there's other types as well. Of course, we didn't get into the verbal stuff, but yeah, if we all stand together and do our part, we can make a difference. There are organizations out there that are dedicated to helping people and victims, but it's few and far between. I mean, we need more of this support. So on my next show, I'm not sure what I'm going to be talking about yet, but this is just something that I was passionate about and wanted to bring to the table. It's a little more of a serious topic, but sometimes we need that. When there's something that needs social change, we have to be able to be willing to communicate about that. So yes, so that is what we're doing today. Together, we can make a difference for healthy change and recovery. Again, this is Sandra Pummel, and as always, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.